of Jeffrey Epstein's alleged suicide note. This is an alleged suicide note, not from his actual quote-unquote suicide, but from an attempted suicide from before the one where he died. CNN's Caitlin Polance is in the newsroom with details. Caitlin, tell us more.
Jake, one of the most sought-after documents that you could imagine in the situation around Jeffrey Epstein, and a moment of transparency. This is an apparent reported suicide note. Now, there isn't a full authentication of this, and just this document has been unsealed by a judge in the case of the man who was in a cell with him in July of 2029. This note, it apparently says, and I'll read it because it is very hard to read the handwriting there, and some of these translations that we're making from the words may not be exact given how difficult it is to read his handwriting. But Jake, it says, they investigated me for months, found nothing. So 15 or 16-year-old charges resurrected. It is a treat to be able to choose one's time to say goodbye. What you want me to do? Burst out crying. No fun, not worth it. So this is a note that reportedly was discovered by the cellmate of Jeffrey.
Oh, no fun for Jeffrey Epstein. I feel so bad inside, Flak. Don't you feel bad?
Oh, absolutely. Terrible. I feel, oh, poor little Epstein.
Oh, that poor man. That poor man. No, here's the thing. Whether he hung himself or somebody else snapped his neck, I have no feelings about it whatsoever other than relief. Just being real. One less demon that we have to deal with on this planet Earth.
Yep.
Yeah, happy Wednesday night, everyone, where we have been presented with the Epstein quote-unquote suicide letter, according to our journalism and government officials. And this happened several hours ago. We haven't had a lot of time to research it. You're watching the Gabriel Speaks podcast. I'm Gabriel, and we are hanging with our co-host Flak Magnet. And tonight he is some type of amphibious dancing bird man. I'm not sure.
It's a creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh, okay. Yes.
But like this must have been during the like behind the scenes or whatever, because he's like on a beach doing this is like now 1950, 1960. So he's like on the beach doing like some breakdance pose.
Yeah, it looks like he's doing the Dougie.
Yeah, I love it. This is my favorite
crazy
photo ever.
So welcome, y'all. If this is your first time hanging with us, please hit that like and subscribe button. Makes a big difference. Gets our content in front of more people, and we appreciate it. So I guess I will ask you, Mr. Flak Magnet, right out of the gate here. First impressions, as we just found this out a couple of hours ago, and it's still probably not fully soaked in. First impressions on what you've seen here with these letters, because apparently there's two different. So we have this version here, right? And then apparently there's another letter here. So first off, do you know what the difference is between these two letters?
Yeah, the one on the yellow paper is supposed to be the older one.
The older one.
Yeah, however, she read the other one saying it was the older one on the news. But this was the more recent one that I was able to find. And this is the one that they held back. So I don't know why they would hold back the original one where he didn't end up dead. Like, that didn't make any sense.
So when you say the original one, this is what got him placed onto suicide watch?
Yeah, like, because remember he was sharing the cell with, I believe the guy's name was...
Beefcake McGee?
Yeah, the big, giant, retired cop guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if that's... People? Yeah, I'm not sure if it was him, that one. But I'm pretty sure it was, because that's the first time we ever heard about a suicide attempt from him.
Okay, so, and then they put him on suicide watch, and he's supposed to have somebody with him at all times. Does not. They leave the guy's placard on the wall that's supposed to be in the cell with him, but remove the actual gentleman from the cell, so Jeffrey Epstein's alone. And at that time, so we assume at that time he writes this letter? Is that how they want us to view this timeline?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what's going on here.
Okay, and we know in those, we've covered this quite extensively, folks. And you can search other places, but you just have to go back in our videos to find the FBI investigation stuff where we have all the pictures of what the FBI took before, or after, during, and after the investigation. And you could see in Jeffrey Epstein's room that he had multiple items that someone on suicide watch should not have. He had pens, he had journals, he had multiple blankets and towels, and I mean, he had enough stuff in there to fashion a noose for probably half of his cellmates, right, in the entire floor.
Yeah.
I mean, he had multiple, like, nobody needed the amount of blankets that were in Jeffrey Epstein's room, a guy that's supposed to be on supposedly suicide watch. That should tell you something.
There was like enough fabric in there for him to make a rope out of the fucking thing and climb out of the window on probably like the 10th floor. You know what I mean? Like there was so much extra stuff in that room.
And, you know, we've talked about this in spaces and like offline, and that is that this is a man who essentially, I mean, he got busted, but pretty much beat the charges the first time around. And in this letter, he's implying that they have nothing on him. He's mega rich. You know, he's going to have a team of attorneys. It doesn't sound like somebody that should be suicidal.
Yep. And from what we heard from Alan Dershowitz, I forget who, maybe it was Pierce Morgan. Yeah. Alan Dershowitz said that all he had to do was say that he was Mossad. He could have got him off and sent to fucking Israel. And
That's
apparently
incredible.
Jeffrey didn't want to do that. But it was wild for him to admit that it was that easy to get a pedophile off by just claiming Mossad.
Well, you know, there's stories about Middle Eastern princes. They get DUIs and sometimes kill people in them, and their daddy flies them home on a private jet the next day, and they never face any consequences whatsoever.
Do you not remember that big issue with the diplomats in, I believe it was around when Clinton was president, but we had a few diplomats like where that exact scenario played out, where hit and runs and things like that, to where like they had diplomatic immunity, so they didn't face any justice at all.
No, they just sent them home and washed their hands of it. And the police actually investigating the issue are just left standing there with their dick in their hand. You know, the person's gone. They're not going to give me money to pursue them. That's it. You know, what do? You reach out to the FBI. The FBI is like, who? Nope, not doing it. You know, we don't want shit to do with that. We got enough problems.
Yep.
What a time. Okay, so let's hear what they're saying here on CNN. We're not going to listen to the whole thing here, but let's see what some initial reactions here are on CNN.
Jeffrey Epstein after his arrest in 2019, and it was discovered in July of 2019, a time when he had apparently made a suicide attempt in jail and survived it, but then several weeks later killed himself. There have been so many investigations around Epstein, and the Justice Department has been looking to release so many documents. This one, though, was tied up in the case of his cellmate, and it now has been released at the
Oh my God, how fucking unprofessional. You're on CNN and your phone ringer goes off. Flak.
Terrible. Absolutely
Can
terrible.
you imagine?
For shame.
Where do we live? Ugh.
New York Times.
All right, Caitlin Pollins, thank you so much. With us now.
Would have respected her if she just yeeted it across the room, though.
Investigating Epstein.
Yeah, it's like, what do they do on Fox where they like give them the mini skirts and then like a glass desk? You're like, what are you doing?
Oh man, there was one where a lady accidentally wore a green dress, and then like, so when she stepped in front of the green screen, all of her clothes disappeared.
Oh,
you know, she wasn't nude.
I think I remember that. Yeah,
but like half of her body was gone. It was the funniest thing ever.
Oh, good old Fox. They're all crappy, man. Fox, CNN. What's your go-to resource for mainstream? Because, you know, we all have to pull off of that teat once in a while. And when you have to do it, where do you usually look to first?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is.
I go international, if I'm being honest, you know, like Al Jazeera, things like that. Because
BBC. Al Jazeera
well,
is
a little
great.
bit of BBC, but BBC still like
Also slanted.
very slanted, but also like they'll say anything the U.S. government tells them, because also the U.S. will say anything that they tell them. You know what I mean? It's like a pro bono type of thing.
A special relationship, Flak.
Yep. But it's usually out of the country. But once in a while, I'll fucking listen to CNN for like 3 minutes, or you know, it's funny, like the morning talk shows, like Good Morning America, stuff like that. I'll listen to it for about 5-10 minutes. But the problem is, like, we live on such quick moving social media platforms that, like, we already know most of the story before it makes it to the news. So then by the time I see it on the fucking news, I already know what's going down, and I can see where they're fucking up and trying to form a narrative that doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah, it's tale as old as time, right?
Yep. Virginia Representative Congressman James Walkinshaw. Congressman, your reaction to the breaking news?
Well, look, I think it's going to raise new questions of the circumstances around Epstein's suicide. One of the frustrating things is that in 2023, the IG did a report investigating those circumstances, determined they felt it was a suicide. This note wasn't even part of that investigation. So I think it's going to add to some of the theories that are out there that it wasn't really fully investigated.
How confident are you that Epstein committed suicide?
Scribe makes step-by-step guides for any process.
Oh, man.
You know what's terrifying? When you start...
That his death was by suicide.
I think that is the most logical outcome, but I'm not 100% confident. I mean, I think we have real questions that still need to be answered. We're going to have Tova Noel, one of the prison guards, before our committee next week, and we're going to have some tough...
So Tova Noel was the one who lied about her doing her rounds, who also received several large lump sums of money and was leasing a Cadillac that cost as much as her annual salary. That Tova Noel?
Jesus. Like, that's so obvious. So fucking obvious of corruption. Like, how do they get away with shit like that? They don't have the same kind of immunity that police have, you know, like, I don't get it.
Bro, this is our research. Like, this didn't take anything, and it wasn't even our research. It was research of journalists' research. We just found this shit online and put 2 and 2 together. Like, it does not take a genius. They're doing it right in front of our faces. Right in front of our faces.
I think it's because it's such a slow-moving train, like a bureaucracy, right? Such a slow-moving train that even if you catch the corruption, just trying to run that shit through the courts takes such a long time that by the time, like, it's done, especially nowadays where we get so many stories at once, people are already off it. They don't care about it anymore. You know, and the ones that do, are, like, they've got real shit to worry about too, you know?
Yeah, it's overload. You know what I mean? It's like we have to make 52 Epstein episodes to get one person to pay attention, but that's all right because it's worth it, you know, because this is so much bigger than him. This is like Israel. This is the Rothschilds.
This is everywhere.
The Clintons. This is the most powerful people in the world. Period. Bar none.
Have you heard about Japan? They're calling up their investigation into Epstein, dude. They pulled the fucking United States. But they were one of the very few that are calling off the investigation. Poland, a bunch of places have
their investigation.
Yep, they were looking into it, and then they realized, like, no, we don't have to do this. Never mind. We're calling it off. We don't have anything to prosecute, even though, like,
not exactly
Joy Ito
between themselves. Yeah. Interesting. So Japan's done. We talked about Edmund de Rothschild's bank getting raided in March, just a couple months ago. So yeah, I mean, there's other countries that are making moves, and other countries, I guess, that are shutting it down.
I found Rothschilds in the emails and in the photographs as well. So it's not just Ariane who was there. Let me just see which name it is, because then I'll send that over to your ex.
Yeah, send that to my ex-girlfriend. It's messed up, bro.
Oh, apologize. All right, I'll send it to the new lady.
Send to my wife. Okay.
To the old wife-a-rooney there.
Yeah, she'll love that. she was saying now, if y'all don't know, if you missed, I don't know, I think I mentioned it hella episodes ago, but yeah, she held a position within the DA's office, and she's very intuitive when it comes to bullshit, especially when it comes to legal bullshit. And her brief analysis of the pages, because I think you sent it to me, I got it maybe an hour before we went live, maybe. And so she looked at them with me briefly, and her assessment was basically, okay, let's say it's 100% his. We have no idea the context. They could be lying to us about when and where they found it, and it could not be his. That's where she kind of fell onto. Like, basically, her initial reaction was what else is going on in the news that they don't want us paying attention to. I think that's a fair assessment, because that seems to be the modus operandi, right? I mean, it's the old magician trick. Look over here, look over here. Don't worry about what's happening over here. Just stay focused over here. Watch the hand. And really, you're doing it all with the other hand. I know that Iran is claiming that they attacked an American warship in the Strait of Hormuz today. I don't know if that would be a reason enough for them to try to distract the public with another Epstein update. Can you think of any important stories in the last week or two that they might be trying to distract us from?
Okay, all right. So I sent that over to you. Just UFOs, dude. UFOs seem to be the biggest distraction right now. It also seems to be like what people genuinely want as far as disclosure is concerned. Because like he did touch on something that's been wanted for, I don't know, since the 60s at least, where people in the majority, as opposed to a few niche individuals, were actually into the subject before that. But that's about it. Like, I haven't heard anything other than like Epstein related shit. Yeah, I don't know what the ploy is, other maybe war stuff, dude. Maybe they're trying to obfuscate from what's going on over in Iraq, perhaps.
Now, what are we looking at here, Flak?
Benjamin de Rothschild at I believe this is the island he's at, with a blacked out individual, a redacted female.
Any idea who that is?
No clue. I have no clue. Just is a Rothschild. Because like a whole stuff onto the J World. So I've been kicking around that all day of day. And I found like a new trove of photographs. Like, what I'd like to do is task AI with
and we may have lost Flak.
Oh shit, hello?
Oh, there he is.
Okay, sorry. I think that we'd just be getting into the weeds there. But it'd be cool to backtrack all these EFTA numbers, because these all have, serial numbers.
Well, what's the significance? What's the implication of this photo here? Why do you think this is important?
Another Rothschild in the mix? Like we heard of the female Rothschild, but now here's a male. This is a bit different now. Because.
And this is just, these are just people in the circle running around with remember the disposable cameras? And then you
Yep.
running around with their cameras, taking pictures of different people in the group, essentially.
Now, I'm not saying anything has happened here. I'm just pointing out, like, the link isn't to just one Rothschild, and this is a Rothschild at the house.
Right. It's not exactly 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah. So I'm going to put and I don't even have to put an allegedly on any of this, because I'm not making any claims of what his role in any of this is. But when people are trying to tell you that Epstein's not connected with all of the banking elite, he totally is. He's in with the heads of J.P. Morgan. He's in with the heads of IBS. He's in with the heads of Rothschilds, clearly, and he works for the Rothschilds per his own testimony.
Right. Well, I will typically put in the show notes, this is research, and this is all, alleged sources and articles and stuff like that. And honestly, if you're coming to the Gabriel Speaks show as your first source of news, I'm going to tell you, you need to rethink your life. Okay.
Yeah. I would say you're on the right track. At least we're better than CNN.
Well, that's a low bar, my friend. That is a low bar.
Touche.
Okay, so let me take a look here. I'm going to take a look at some headlines from today, and you tell me if you think may or may not be related. Okay, and I'm just going to read the headlines. So here we go. Trump sees swift end to war as Iran reviews U.S. peace proposal. That's from Reuters. Let's say on a scale of 1 to 5, what would you give that as far as maybe why the Epstein, 5 being the most reason it dropped, 1 being not at all?
I'm gonna say 1.
Say 1. Okay.
Because this is peace talk, right? And
Apparently.
People want peace. People want peace other than the very few who are fucking railing on for this war. Most people don't want to be there. Most people don't want to have to deal with this. We understand that we're fighting somebody else's battle right now who did not need our help, simply on the fact that they've got their own shit and they started all this. Israel is a 6-front war they're trying to fight. They're picking fights with everyone they can at the moment and asking us to come in as their big brother on the thing, which I don't know if you've ever been out with somebody who gets drunk and then starts fights randomly because they know it's at least 2 against 1. Until all their friends walk out. Oh, man, it's happened to me at least once. After the first time I got my ass beat immediately, they realized I'm not the safety guy. He's too thin. He's easy to toss across the room. But usually the first time I'll slip by and then, we get our ass kicked because he's drunk and I'm thin. So.
Okay. Let's see. Justice Department targets slow immigration judges as Trump pushes faster deportations. What do you think of that one? 1 to 5?
Maybe a 2, because now we're getting into like the deportations is a little bit more of like a contentious
one he wants to win, right?
Yeah, with the nice agents, with the new nice agents, we're not very nice.
Sure. Yeah. Now here we go. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick admits to having prolonged ties to Epstein in closed-door interview.
Ding, 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 ding. I'm going to give this a 15. I'm going to put a 15 on this one because closed. Why does this cocksucker get the benefit of being in a closed session? He's not Hillary Clinton. And not that I think Hillary Clinton should have, but he's not fucking Hillary.
Did we find our winner here? Let's take a look. Okay, so this is from Politico. Clearly a communist rag. Let's take a look. Lutnick admits to having prolonged ties to Epstein in closed-door interview. The Commerce Secretary sat for a transcribed interview with the White House Oversight Committee Reform Committee as report of the panel's Jeffrey Epstein investigation. For reasons he said were inexplicable, Howard Lutnick acknowledged visiting Jeffrey Epstein's island 7 years after he claimed to have severed his relationship with the convicted sex offender, according to lawmakers present with the Commerce Secretary's closed-door testimony on Wednesday. Now, if you've watched any of our Epstein episodes, we talked extensively about the fact that this man not only went to the island, but what else, Flak?
So he brought his kids and he brought his friends' kids. And this is the weirdest part, right? He denoted all the ages.
Yeah.
In the email. What? Like, okay, I get it. You're going to visit your friend's island and you want to make sure that, like, hey, my kid's weird and only eats macaroni and cheese all the time.
Sure,
sure. I've had family members and ex-girlfriends who have a very, very a small amount of things that they're willing to try, especially like in a new place, like an island.
Right.
You know, like. But now this is the thing. They got a professional chef that'll cook you anything you fucking want, right? And we know that because in all the transcripts, the girls love the chefs. They all were like, "Oh, we could ask him for shit at 3 in the morning. You can call up and ask for a fucking sundae on the little intercom, and he'll come running into you. You know, they like the chef.
Probably were too.
And it's the thing. The one that Jimmy Kimmel's friends with Like this is what kind of fucks me up is the one that Jimmy Kimmel's friends with. I think it's Lang, I believe is his name.
Mm-hmm.
He was like really good to the girls. Like some of them would like confide to him at the shit that was going on, right? And the girls told the FBI that. This guy told the FBI that, which kind of is a little weird to me because it made it to transcripts, and then it also kind of proves that this Jack guy knew what the hell was going on behind the scenes, with the girls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, from other reports, Epstein was seen with like young girls, man, like noticeably young, where like you're having people report in public, like seeing it.
Okay, so I'm just looking here. Other possible potential stories. Influencer Clavicular faces criminal charge for shooting alligator in Florida. And I think I've heard of this guy before. Have you heard of this guy?
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, I don't really give a shit, but I don't think that's the reason. Federal authorities arrest 18 people in Los Angeles raid amid drug crackdown. Nah, just not enough people, not a big enough effect. One CMA CGM vessel hit in the Strait of Hormuz and other exits the Gulf. Now this...
Bing, 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 bing.
We've got two now. This might be something they don't want the American people thinking or talking about. San Antonio ship struck Tuesday, some crew injured. And, these aren't Navy seamen. These are like...
So it looks like a big ship.
Right. These are like laborers. You know what I mean? 32nd vessel struck since the start of Iran war. The 32nd one. You look at that piece of equipment. You think that thing's cheap?
Oh, not at all. I also think it's pretty fucking hard to penetrate that thing with like, because you also have to realize these are civilian or like workers, right? Assuming it's not espionage.
Right.
So you may just use your guns. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't use $100,000 missiles to prove a point to get a boat to turn around. So like, I wonder what the hell it was. They got hurt more than one crew member. You know what I mean?
32nd vessel struck. CMA CGM Saigon sailing near Oman after leaving the Gulf. U.S. pauses scheme to free ships as talks with Iran continue. So remember, a few days ago, we were going to guide all the ships out of there, right? But just kidding, because we're having peace talks. We're not going to do that. And this is like inch by inch, every day that goes by that this is a problem. You're just, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Wait until we realize like we're missing 25% of our world's fertilizer because of this. It's not just about oil. There's going to be a lot of problems that happen because of this. Okay, so that could be another possible reason, right? We're having problems in the Strait of Hormuz, something that Trump had kind of promised we were going to have it under control, no problem. Guess again. So look at this. Iran's regime taking over is a problem for Trump. Ahmad Vahidi is the one calling the shots. Let's see. As President Trump claims signs of disarray in Iran's wartime leadership, one key player appears to be accumulating sizable influence that could shape the Islamic Republic's position on the battlefield and negotiating table. And he's likely not the kind of figure the White House wants to see at the helm. While Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei assumed the highest office of supreme leader after the killing of his father, and Parliament Speaker Mohammed Bagar, I don't even say that last name, has taken the spotlight in negotiations, the rise of the Brigadier General Ahmad Vahidi may prove most consequential of all. The many shifts taking place within Iran's complex internal power dynamics. One thing that I think our military drastically underestimated was that Iran was going to learn the lessons from mistakes nearby nations had made. So they knew we were going to try to cut off the head, and they were prepared for that. Right?
Well, like Rain is not a first off, they're fucking old, man. They've got a lot of money. They
90 million people.
Yeah, there's like they're formidable. We are really far away from them, right? So like having Israel use us as its like savior in this is kind of wild. Yeah. Seeing as like it's like you get threats and you're in New York, right? So you call your friend in California to come save you. You know, like it's we are not exactly afraid, other than what they say with like domestic terrorism, minus the domestic person being a part of it. But like shit being brought here would be acts of terror like that, as opposed to them sending what's it called fighter jets. You know, they just not enough gas to fucking get them here.
Just because the news stopped reporting on a terrorist threat level doesn't mean there's an active terrorist threat level. And ever since the Trump bomber blew up the bomb in front of the Trump building, it came out that there are at least 4 anti-aircraft missiles in the Iranian regime's possession somewhere in the United States. They shut down the operation, but before they could shut it down completely, at least 4 of them are just out there, folks.
Didn't we just have 12 drones or some shit go missing from some military base? 2?
And then you think about the drones that were flying over New Jersey and all the rumors about them possibly looking for some kind of nuclear dirty bomb or something. So they are not telling us what's going on for reals. And I'm sure there's a huge part of it that's like, well, it's for their own good. But if you had like a kid that lived in New Jersey and you knew there might be a dirty bomb going off, wouldn't you want the opportunity to tell your kid to get the fuck out of there?
Yep. But that's the whole thing. They don't want mass panic. They only want mass panic. Like, that's also where the divide is. Like how do they act like they don't want absolute chaos and then feed chaos into the paradigm, right?
If you think about it numbers wise, I would be better with people dying during mass panic than all of them dying because of some kind of attack.
Oh yeah, but at least hopefully they get their shit together and realize, like, okay, standing is still screaming at the air is not helping. Let me get the fuck out of Dodge. But I don't know. You've got like I don't know. You know what? I'll end it there because I don't want to go into a 10-minute fucking diatribe about.
No, I love the diatribes, buddy.
Well, we're not told fucking anything about anything, right? And then all of a sudden they come out with we'll touch into UFO disclosure real quick. They come out with the UFO disclosure thing, and they tell you, we're briefing pastors that they're going to now need to get their congregations ready because UFOs are angels and demons. That's going to cause chaos, no matter fucking what. Like approaching it in that angle where you remove the possibility that it's literally just we'll say it's a gray alien sat in a ship who has no agenda possible, and he's just coming to take a look. The old sightseer thing. That would be to say, hey, it exists. They're just sightseers. That's how you release the shit and not have mass panic. You know, like we don't have people getting like zapped in the fucking streets or anything, so we don't have to worry about that thing. And they already discredited all the experiencers who have been abducted, right? To the point where I don't think they're worried about the public catching on to that shit being real. You know, so it's just very odd. Like, they're saying they don't want mass panic, but they're doing everything to cause what I would imagine would be their outcome of like mass panic. Oh, you're muted, buddy.
I was just saying, in my old age, it's funny how you realize sometimes things people will do to avoid a problem they're concerned about will actually bring that problem about in their life.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to give another news organization here some coverage. This is NBC and their take on the suicide letter. Here we go. Maybe.
Breaking news on that front now. We understand, based on NBC News reporting, that a federal judge has now unsealed a possible suicide note written by Epstein. I want to bring in now our national security correspondent, Tom Winter, who is joining us. And it appears as though this is just into us from this federal judge. Tom, what do we know?
Right. So what happened here, and let's just get right to the note. We'll explain the backstory. This note was allegedly found by an inmate of Jeffrey Epstein after the first possible Epstein suicide attempt. You remember in July, prior to his actual suicide, he was found semi-conscious in his cell with marks around his neck. The inmate at the time, Nicholas Tartaglione, we'll get to him in a moment, said that this note was left behind. There are parts of it that are difficult to read. The beginning appears to be quite clear. They investigated for a month.
The roommate, you can find interviews of him on YouTube. The dude was a fucking beefcake. Like, I don't know what he looks like now, but at the time, he was fucking a ripped out ex-cop that killed 5 people. And
he was apparently that big as a cop, too.
Yeah, and they put a pedophile in a cell with them. Like, what do you think they wanted to happen, folks?
Oh, exactly.
What do you think?
Yeah,
right.
For a month or something like that, found nothing, couple exclamation marks. So 15-year-old charges. It's resolved or something there.
Yeah.
It is and then the next part of it's tough to read. The last part of it is clearly not difficult to read. No fun, underlined, not worth it, 2 exclamation marks. The thing that makes this a little bit interesting here, Hallie, from a standpoint of confirming this note, there was another note that 60 Minutes was able to obtain that was, they say, was found in Epstein's cell after he died of suicide. He writes at the end of that note, no fun, and it appears to have, to me at least, cursory look, the same handwriting. Now, we don't know, what makes that different, I should say, is that Epstein was the only one in the cell at the time. Does that mean that somebody else hadn't planted it before or afterwards? And about 85 other conspiracy theories we could talk to midnight tonight. However, this letter did come out.
Okay, and because he mentions it, this was kind of a deep dive you had done here. And this
I think I just saw a comment sort of cut in, but I'm like right on my porch having a cigarette, and I saw a white light just dart across the sky, but it looked like a comet. It had a cool little tail on it.
Okay, well,
nothing,
this is
nothing
not another
paranormal.
UFO sighting. Oh my god!
Yeah, but this was so bright and white. This thing looked cool, dude.
This is the document you sent me, and this is about as big as I can get it. But this is Jeffrey Epstein's handwriting. All right. Now, it's not the best, but you can read it. This was the handwriting that was left on these notes. And again, Jeffrey Epstein letter confirmed. Suicide note. It's hard to believe that's the same person.
Did we read the entire thing out yet?
Oh, which one? The suicide one?
Yeah, the most recent one they just released.
You know, there's my interpretation. There's several interpretations and options my AI gave me, some of which made 0 sense. But you tell me what you got on those, and I'll tell you what I got. You show yours first.
Hell yeah. Okay. All right. And now I did this. I sat there and looked at it for about 25 minutes, trying to decipher his chicken scratch. All right. Can you hear me well enough?
Worse than a doctor. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Now, are we looking at this one here?
1 second. Let me pop back over to it.
The white one or the gray?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
That's the one. So now it says they investigated me for months and found nothing. So 10-year-old charges resulted. It is a treat to be able to choose one's time to say goodbye. What you want me to do? Cry about it? No fun, not worth it. That's what I got.
Okay. Which I've said for the longest time, I don't think Epstein would have the balls to do something like this. I think he's too much of an egomaniac to do something like this to himself. But that note actually makes me think he did do it. As fucked up as that sounds. Because that's the kind of note an egomaniac that's about to commit suicide would leave. Call me crazy.
Since we've been on the what's it called tip already, it wouldn't be too far out of line for me to say this. I do think that he was being messed with mentally while he was in there, just because of the way his writing was.
Expand on that. What do you mean by that?
Like DEWs have come up a lot, and then our I believe it was like the Department of Defense or Department of War has actually just come out saying that we do have DEWs, like directed energy weapons. So
we do, in fact, yes.
I wonder what that did to scramble his brain up, because he was not. The other letter was way less cohesive. This one at least had a theme to it. The other one seemed like it was like it didn't mention anything about the suicide, but it did say no fun at the bottom, which I don't know. That's got to be a code. You know what? I'm rethinking this now after thinking about the no fun thing over and over again. I think that's a code meant to go out to fucking somebody. Because why would they release that now with it? And the same thing, well, it's jail. What do you mean no fucking fun? Of course it's no fun. That's the point of jail.
Yeah. And I have to think, like, I know I keep saying it, but I just have to believe that he had a part of him that felt like he beat the whole fucking thing. And he wouldn't face any charges.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
call me crazy
time and time again.
Yeah,
you know what
call
I mean?
Me crazy.
Like,
his sentence in Florida was a joke.
Do you think he would have got pardoned? Like this time around, like let's say he didn't end up dead. He just had maybe 30 years behind bars that he was facing, right? Do you think he would have gotten a pardon? Because they are talking about doing some kind of pardon for Ghislaine, even though she's the only one arrested and still around of the actual charges that ever came forth to anybody. You know, no one else really got in too much trouble. People are getting more shit from the public than they ever are from our DOJ. So I don't understand why he would feel that he wouldn't just get out in a fucking couple of years. You know what I mean? Like pay some judge off to where he can get work release or something like that. Like it's happened so many times before for his ass.
It wouldn't surprise me, although it would really upset me if Ghislaine was to get a pardon. Just like they pardoned all the people on January 6th. Now listen, before you start shooting bows and arrows and throwing tomatoes at me, I do believe many of those people from January 6th probably should have been pardoned. But I also believe there were some in that group that needed to face the consequences for their actions. Yes, you're pumped up by this group that's behind you, and there's all these mitigating factors. But if you broke a window, if you harassed an officer, if you sat in Pelosi's office and smoked a bowl, you should be held responsible for those actions. Period. So to just a blanket pardon to me was like the biggest bunch of bullshit. That this president cares more about politics than truth and justice. 100%. Yeah, I said it. I'd say it again.
I'm right there with you, especially like the provocateurs, like the ones really trying to get people to do bad shit. This is the whole thing. Like I will never ever say that. I don't know. Maybe I'll rail on a bit about certain things. But like, if you do a fucking crime and you're brave enough to do that crime, be brave enough to do the fucking time. You know, right. Deal with the consequences of your actions. That's what we're asking about for the government, is their own accountability. So you got to put your money where your mouth is at some point.
That's right. That's right. Okay, now I'm going to share a little snippet of a previous video I made regarding directed energy weapons, just so the folks can see these things are current. Now, these are the lowest level except for the one you're about to see in Bosnia. These are pretty much the lowest level directed energy weapons being used primarily for crowd control. So take a look at this. It's pretty fucking wild. Well, not that part. Sorry. Technical difficulties, folks. Hang with us. I think we lost Flak for just a moment. There we go. Okay. My apologies. I completely forgot that video did have an introduction. Okay. So I think I got it to the right spot here. Okay, now it's going to start. There he is.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, it's completely my fault because I started it wrong anyway. So now we've got it at the starting point where it needs to be. So
I thought
this is my video on DWs a little while ago. It did.
Okay. All right. Very cool.
Yeah,
I freaked out. I was like, oh no, reset browser, figure everything out again.
All right, here we go. Stop. And you just stop me if you want to stop me at all. Here we go. Maybe. Quite possibly.
Comes in the form of a voice, a subtle voice, but some claim an intrusive and annoying voice that targets shoppers by sending them secret messages. Jeff Rawson shows us how it works.
Hey, you. Step into a cafe, peruse a bookstore. Maybe you'll hear it. A mysterious voice that appears out of nowhere.
Over here. Don't turn around. Can you hear me? Do you ever think about murder? Committing the ultimate crime?
Where's it coming from?
If you continue to hear a voice after walking away, please seek help immediately.
Cutting through the clutter is really important. You get bombarded with messages all the time, and we want ours to...
I just want to say I love that's part of the fine print. If you still hear a voice after you're gone, seek help immediately.
Stand out.
The sound is directed to a very specific area.
The great thing is, where I get to be standing, I hear the message perfectly clear.
When you hear it, you may jump at first.
At first it was kind of creepy because I didn't know where it was coming from.
That is a bit obnoxious. I mean, it's just more of a general noise in the city.
It's interesting.
Veteran ad man Jerry Della Femina says he admires Core TV for finding a new way to get through to consumers. But, yep, there's a but.
The next point is a hand comes out and grabs you by the collar and pulls you in.
This is a test of the long-range acoustic device, LRAD. Once again, this is your city police department. You must not interfere with vehicular traffic. If you do, you'll be placed into custody. You must remain on the sidewalk.
Spin it.
Ajte, momci, desi, Jovane, dođi.
Semi.
Exactly are these sonic weapons? They're devices that use powerful sound or focused energy instead of bullets. The most widely used version is called a long-range acoustic device, or LRAD. It looks like a flat speaker and fires a narrow beam of extremely loud sound in one direction. The US military has used them in Iraq, on Navy ships, and to guard military bases.
I say again, this is a military area. Move away from the perimeter.
It has a range of non-lethal capability that we can't even come close to with any of our fielded systems today that are in our military forces.
About 7 football fields to give it some perspective.
It only penetrates 1/64 of an inch of your skin. Goes very shallow into where your nerve receptors are. And there's no permanent injury caused by it. We built in some safety margins and training for the operators.
They even let any of the guests volunteer to test out its effectiveness and safety, including the Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps, Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, and Assistant Secretary of the Navy. Most described it as feeling like a hot oven or grill being opened up.
It is something that, once again, probably the safest system that we've developed as far as the non-lethal capability.
Watch what eggs do to your brain. Take a look at these 2 brain scans.
All right. Well, so
oh, you muted, buddy.
I was saying too many damn buttons, but what do you think of that? Seeing these highly trained Navy guys get hit by this super low frequency LRAD and screaming like girls.
I'm going to say they are all conspiracy theorists. I want to say the cameramen who filmed this actually happening, conspiracy theorists, and especially
it's all fake.
That asshole with the military uniform who's talking about using it. That guy is a conspiracy theorist. They're all nuts.
I think that guy might have human skin lampshades.
Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't
call
doubt
it a hunch.
Skin lampshades. I sent you something, by the way, on the Tweetar.
I was just looking at this, about to get it uploaded here. Now, before I get it going, what exactly are we looking at?
I don't know if you want to back up to when they showed that truck, looked like a Humvee or whatever, with that big circular LRAD on top of it. But it just looks very similar to the ion plasma drive.
Oh, like I think it's a quarter ton, I think. Let me see. Here it is. Is this the one here?
Yeah, and then there was another one that showed it. I think it had its little blue light activated, like the ion stuff coming out of it. But it just looks so very similar to the device that they were showing. To where I wonder if it's like tweaked in something similar, you know?
Okay, and this is a device that's also directed energy weapon type device.
This is just a directed energy device. Like this is a propulsion system, ion plasma drive from, I believe, the NASA's Deep Space Probe. They popped this fucker on there, and it worked really well. But this is like ion plasma in a vacuum type of thing.
Ion plasma and a vacuum type of thing.
Yeah, deep space vacuums, ion.
So you can explore in deep space, see into deep space.
Oh yeah, and this has like a very little fuel consumption. And the coolest part is like when you have no resistance, like in outer space, you multiply your speed relatively quickly. So you don't need all that much pushing you, especially if you're not landing on a planet and trying to get back off the planet, you know, like that's where all the fuel expense goes. But if you can have something like pulsed, something like this, it just keeps you toting along. You'll eventually just gain speed and speed and speed.
Yeah. Well, and one thing in the video I had loaded up there, and it's funny because you mentioned the directed energy weapons with Jeffrey Epstein, and there's a image in here, if I can find it, with a, here it is here.
Okay, I
Sorry, it's going to do commercial again.
probably shouldn't say this here, but see how perfect this looks? It's not by accident. These big grocery chains don't want you seeing.
Okay, here we go. They can fit right into a back. So that is an LRAP in a backpack.
That's wild. I don't know how they're saying it's safe because if I'm not mistaken, that's like microwave technology, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that is not safe. That'll toast you. You know,
it's got a red button on it just in case. Come on, gee, what are you, some kind of commie?
This is the thing. I'm wondering if it's like just casting ghosts into your head, and what you say to whatever that's in the little magic box that goes into you. You know, like, this is all pure science fiction right now, and me being a little funny. But that's so. I mean,
weird. What she's wearing isn't though. Like, what she's wearing is very, very real.
Yeah, it's just the whole, if you walk away and it still persists, where I'm like, oh, you just called yourself a poltergeist. You know, that's just where I was going with that one.
Yeah, you could just fuck with people all the time, couldn't you? And that's the thing with some of the sonic weapons, is we heard the audio ones. Y'all, they're not all audio. Did you see how those people were jumping out of the way of something that was, you were unable to see, unable to smell, unable to touch, unable to avoid, because you don't know where it's coming from in some instances. Literally jumping away for their lives. Command sergeant majors in the fucking Marine Corps going at the lowest setting.
And everyone said, like, the first time you encounter it, it's really jarring, right? Like, imagine, you don't care if somebody gets used to it, because it's that first initial time you use it.
You want to
get still a really good
in the service.
Good use.
Yeah. It's like the CS gas, right? We would have to do a CS gas thing every year, because every time you do it, your lungs build a stronger and stronger defense mechanism against it. So by the third or fourth time you go through that CS gas training, you're pretty much good. Burns your lungs a little bit, and that's about it. But the first time you go through it, you're going to have every bit of snot that has been in your nose, your head, your face, your neck, all coming out at the same time. It's really fun.
I've seen because they'll show the videos after one of those things. People, it's just every liquid pouring out of your face.
It's
you know
brutal,
what I mean?
buddy.
Nose, mouth. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's brutal. And then I made the dumbass mistake of saying that was the only thing I was worried about. Second or third weekend to one of the drill sergeants. So he made sure to put me in front. I had to take my mask off before anybody. And he made me say all kinds of shit just to make sure I got in a few breaths of that shit. Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, yeah. I thank him for it now. You know what I mean? You got to face that fear, dude. That's a big part of it. But yes, you have this thing that could be completely silent. And again, you look at this technology and it takes up that whole backpack, a few years ago. Think about how small your cell phones are. If you don't think they can get things down to that type of size, I think you're being ignorant. They certainly can. They could probably get an effective version of this in the needlepoint tip of a pen if they needed to. Maybe not as effective, but effective enough.
Yeah, enough to fuck with you. And especially if it's like only one target, maybe like in a boardroom setting.
Enough to make others that are sitting around you think you're fucking nuts. Right? Because you get that tick because that fucking thing's hitting you in the neck. Oh, shit. Don't listen to Gabe again. He's fucking crazy. Easily
It makes me think though, like, right, all right, because I was the one who brought it up. So now I'm the one who has to kind of like flesh this out to not make it sound like a crazy person thing. But like, how would it work out in Jeffrey Epstein's case, right? Like, where would that situation have had to start and end? You know, like
when they discovered the roommate wasn't going to wax him. I mean, that's when they would do it. The camera all of a sudden doesn't work. He's supposed to have a roommate at all times. The door says the roommate is there, but he's not there for a whole day. All of that, those towels and fucking blankets and everything else, a fucking couple of hoses, a machine, headphones, an iPad, a bunch of shit he's not even supposed to have, writing utensils. I mean, they wanted this guy dead. That's the impression I got. So yeah, if the roommate isn't going to kill him, and let's say you don't want to kill him, yeah, stick a little one of these in the corner of the jail cell. He's not going to know. And just slowly start stripping away his sanity.
You know, we do have some of those videos, right? Like
of him in the cell?
Yeah, well, not in the cell, but we have them the outside that room, because you do need to go through an area to that area. And there's like 24 hours worth of footage. You know, you kind of got to sit through. But there were a few instances where they were bringing a lot of shit in there a couple days before his suicide. So,
because I'll go ahead, buddy. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, like, it would be cool to sit there and look and see if any of those fit the size, or like, because I don't think some of those things that they brought in were cardboard boxes, right? But if you have like a $20,000 piece of technology, you're going to bring that in its proper little case. You know, you're not going to fuck around just in case you have to explain why you just broke some kind of brand new piece of tech you shouldn't have even had. You know, because it would have been lent. I don't think one of these police officers in that wing, or I guess correction officers, would have had the money to go buy that shit.
Check out this quote, and I don't know if you missed this one. At a government workshop some time ago, I heard someone describe a new tool that was described as the voice of Allah. This was said to be a device that would operate at a distance and would deliver a message that only a single person could hear. The story was that it was tested in a conflict situation in Iraq and pointed at one insurgent in a group who whipped around looking in all directions and began a heated conversation with his compatriots who did not hear the message. At the time, I greeted this story with some skepticism. He wrote, get to the next one here. And basically, this was an article that was done. I can't remember
This is wild.
Exact author of the article. Maybe it'll be in here, but at any rate, this was a story that was written about the incident, not the second incident with Iraq, the Gulf War, Operation Iraqi Freedom, whatever mission, in where we set up a bunch of antennas at one of Iraq's radio stations, use those antennas as a relay to essentially try to send a message to demoralize their troops. And it fucking worked. It fucking worked.
Yeah, damn. That's just wild. Like, the fact that people are willing to fuck with other people like that, whether you're given an order to do it or not, that's still fucking crazy.
Just using frequencies to get people to not fight, to lay down. That's pretty scary shit right there.
Well, I'm just thinking of the other end of that, right? Like getting one person to flip out and murder 17 people.
Or even
like
just
that Kingsman.
themselves.
Did you ever see that Kingsman movie? Where it's implemented?
Yes, where
number
he,
2.
The secret word is said, and he just murders everybody in that whole church.
Yeah, but it's they use a dial system, like to pump some kind of frequency into that entire room, because everybody in that room goes into a murderous rage. He's just the only one who's trained to the capacity where he takes everybody out. But then even he gets killed by the lady with the fucking sword legs.
Well, so this is a looks like the Fox News all white business channel here. Let's listen to what they have to say about actually using these DEWs in the field. This was right after the Maduro raid, where for whatever reason, like 20 of our Delta soldiers were able to take out like 300 Cuban and Venezuelan special operators. Pretty amazing, but I guess not that amazing if they're all laying on their backs puking.
Fell to the ground with blood coming out of their nose.
There's some sonic technology that's manufactured right in San Diego, and it's used by the Coast Guard and so on. And it can be used anywhere from long-range talking to painful to even the symptoms you said. These non-lethal, non-kinetic weapons are part of the growing arsenal that President Trump is leading to make sure that our troops have.
Speaking of Venezuela, there was a weapon used, a sonic weapon, that took out many of the Cuban bodyguards that were used to defend Maduro. Lots of people saw the details about that weapon and were concerned. Is that something that Americans should be afraid of, something the United States is combating?
Yeah, something I don't want to, nobody else has it. We have weapons that nobody knows about. Probably good not to talk about them, but we have some amazing weapons. That was an amazing attack. Don't forget, that house was in the middle of a fort, an army base, a big one, a lot of soldiers, and they came in and they did their job. We lost nobody.
The first of a whole new class of battleships to be produced in the years to come. Once completed, these new 30 to 40,000 ton plus vessels will be the flagships of the American naval fleet. And
what would you tell a man who spent
Muted.
Gosh darn it. I was saying that's pretty incredible, right? We went, for whatever reason, from a position of, oh, these things are just theory, it's sci-fi, space track shit, to no, we're equipping all of our warships with lasers. In particular, the lasers that are really good at taking out the drones. And to me, it's just a testament to how far the technology has come, because if we're now letting laser beams out of the bag, what the fuck are we hiding? What is above laser beams that takes out drones? Probably some pretty high-tech shit.
there has never been anything built like them. We're 15 to 20 years advanced in our submarines over anybody else. The battleships are going to be armed just in terms of guns and missiles at the highest level. They'll also have hypersonic weapons, many hypersonic weapons, state-of-the-art electric rail guns, and even the high-powered lasers that you've been starting to read about. We have lasers where you aim the laser at a target and it just wipes it out. Most sophisticated lasers in the world, and the most sophisticated laser in the world will be on the battleships that we're building. They'll also carry the nuclear armed, sea-launched cruise missiles currently under development.
Okay.
Oh, well, you're mute, buddy.
I see stuff like that, and it makes me think it's not that hard to believe that old Mr. Epstein was getting hit by a DW in his cell. I mean, it's basically child's play at this point. If they can lock you up in a cage and control your entire living situation, they could certainly control when and where you're getting those attacks and what you're trying to get to happen with those attacks. I mean, you said it yourself. The writing here seems almost schizophrenic. Whereas the writing here, this is what, just a couple years prior?
Yep.
Not even in the same ballpark. He's using, looks like, primarily cursive here. Very readable, very understandable. This looks like something a 90-year-old doctor would write. Maybe not the subject matter, but the style of it.
I just sent you another 2 posts, but I think the second post might be a little more intriguing because it's China's own version of the same laser weapons that Trump is talking about, like a vehicle-mounted lasers as well.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah, let me, we can probably share this one here. Let's get that pulled up. Oh, wow. Those things look pretty intense.
Now, I believe I put a whole, there's like a, there's a nice little description up there.
In response to Ashton Forbes' latest live stream, I found some actual practical applications of the DEWs you speak of. Cheers. The Great Guangdong Province 2024. That's not a fucking DEW, dude. That's the robot from RoboCop.
Tee.
You didn't see that one?
I seen it.
The one that shoots the board member in the conference, and they're like, "Oh shit, we gotta start over from scratch."
It's the
we lost Tommy.
It's the Tauntaun with fucking Gatling guns attached.
Laser cannon mounted to Chinese military vehicle, and you can see here, Flak Magnet has designed this vehicle.
It's my own vehicle. Y'all fuck around, y'all find out.
This is the Walking Dead survival wagon. Pretty impressive, man. Where'd you find that?
That was searching the archives, trying to find secret tech. And this isn't even. What the hell is this? This is like a tech conference from 2024 in China. There's also like some turkey drones and shit that's displayed in the background. But this, I believe, was for normal civilians, because I found this amongst a trove of like. Man, what would you call it? Like when you have the press come and take a bunch of photographs for whatever reason.
Press conference?
Yeah, but it's like kind of like marketing a little bit. It's like a little bit of marketing thrown in there too.
I don't know.
It's like, you ever see like the really cool photos of like
sponsored event or something?
Sort. It's like when we show up our bombers and stuff. You know, like when we actually do show them off. Well, it'll be like lit up in a hangar and have like pretty lights on it. Like the automated B-52 looking one did that. But that's what this is. This is like a kind of like a trade show almost for the, I guess, whatever contractors are making these things.
And they were like, whoever can make something look like that thing in RoboCop gets the most money.
Yeah, you just want intimidation. I would have put more spikes. You know what I mean? Just spikes all over it.
Yeah, maybe some strategic glitter.
Always.
You know, look. Sometimes it really can have an effect on the psyche.
Just like, wow, look at that.
Okay, so you find these fucking drones, and so with the laser that's on them, is that primarily going to be for drones that are attacking them? Is that kind of what these machines are designed for?
I don't know, because this is the only description that I got. It didn't go into the tech of it, because I wouldn't really have any problem telling anybody about this stuff. I mean, there's some of the shit in the US I found where I do not want to talk about, simply because I don't know if I want our adversaries knowing what we fucking have.
Well, if it's declassified, you're okay. That's the main thing. Just don't share anything that's classified. You're fine. Because if it's declassified, they already have it everywhere, I promise.
Okay.
The thing with this, if, you know, and it's probably declassified, what it looks like to me is if I were the Russian army and every time I try to get boots on the ground and advance, I'm getting waxed by these fucking drones. I'm going to want like a few hundred of these bad boys.
Yeah, because I'm also not sure what the power is on those fucking things. Like
I'm sure they're good enough to take out those little Ukraine drones.
Oh hell yeah! At the very least,
Right.
But like,
so you
it
put
looks
some of
like
these
it's,
on your tanks, and
it probably
that's
has a
it.
couple of different ways of doing that. You know, like I don't know. I'm not even going to speculate. I've got no idea. But this was
I don't
China's
either,
in
but-
2024. You know, which we're talking about. And this is in 2026, and
Right.
we've just admitted that we have the laser shit on things. You know,
Pretty
like Trump
much,
was like,
yeah.
"Oh, I don't know if I should tell anybody about this, but we've got the
Yeah.
things, we've got the lasers."
Yeah.
I found this fucking 2 years ago, and this is our adversaries. Like, imagine what the
Yeah.
fuck we do have.
Right. And imagine what they do have. What if all the UFOs are just them? You ever
Yeah,
think about
maybe.
that?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
I see a
Like-
cool thing, and I'm like, it's fucking China.
Yeah. And then other times I think, have you ever read Young on the UFOs?
Oh no, I don't think so. Carl Jung.
Dude, yeah, it is so. I highly suggest it if you haven't read. I read it on my last vacation, and I'm so glad I did, because so much of this phenomena involves the way you perceive things, when you perceive things, how you perceive things, acceptance, fear, denial, love. It all comes back to the psyche. And that was kind of Jung's point. It's very interesting reading. I definitely suggest it.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, and it's he was a psychiatrist, so you have to understand as you're going through it, like, he's writing this research as a psychiatrist, not as a believer, not as a non-believer, not as anything other than a psychiatrist diagnosing people coming to him for help regarding this issue. It's a great book. It's a fantastic book. Okay. Now, our favorite person, Jeffrey Epstein, leaves a suicide note. Says nothing about Disney. They're probably offended. Now, what's your gut tell you? That this note is legit or bullshit?
Man, I don't know. Because just our little discourse before and then during, like, you've got me to at least waver on my opinion, because I was thinking it was bullshit at first. I was like, this is perfect for Patsy material. You know what I
Right.
mean? To quickly get whatever done and then have a backup for your reasoning behind why whatever happened.
Right.
But like, I don't know, man. I
But
don't
you
know.
make a sound point with maybe they were fucking with him in there with some DEWs and he was acting irrational.
Well, that was also the reports, was that he was acting very irrational.
Right. He met with the lawyer a couple days before this happened. Right. He was clearly afraid of something. Or he was planning a suicide. I don't know.
I wonder, right? Because like, this is the one part. Like, if you work in an area, right, and you know about all these DEWs, you worked in the military, right? And then this shit happens to you while you're in another country, you know, they're using the same kind of technology. You'd at least be prepared to, like if you heard it, you'd be like, oh, that's weird. But I know what that is. I've been around this. Like, Epstein was around shit like that. His best friend was Andrew, and he's was like a war guy. Like, he sold military arms from place to place to place.
Right.
I believe that was one of his things. So he has knowledge about military arms and crap, you know. So I wonder what else they would have had to have done, because like the CIA did like to fucking dose people Like, let's say you knew about this, but like somebody secretly dosed you, and then this shit started happening. You know, allegedly, possibly.
You ever been able to find more on his upbringing or his parents?
Oh, I don't have it on me, but I believe it was Diligent that was speaking about it in Space a couple of nights ago.
Okay.
But
What were the bullet points?
Mom was a nurse. Dad was worked in Parks and Recreation, like the Parks Department in Brooklyn.
Okay.
So they were not rich. He lived in a little.
But hardworking.
Yeah, both of his parents were hardworking, of course.
Mhm.
Now the thing is, like, they had, oh man, it looked like a little, like a two floor Long Island home, you know, like a little like 4 steps up into the entryway. Like, I don't know, there's houses like that all over Queens, you know, like so I've grown up around that kind of neighborhood. It's not like a super affluent neighborhood. This is like, I would say, like lower class earning, low middle class. You know what I mean? Like that was that kind of thing. That was usually you have like Italian immigrants, Polish immigrants, German immigrants. That's them working their way up from like the immigration process. You know, and maybe I'm German, so I've got no qualms about it. That's how at least 2 generations before my father like came into the country. You know what I mean? Like before World War II. They wound up coming over. So like, I don't know. It's also kind of similar to like a house my grandparents had in Maspeth. You know, like, I don't know. It's not a wealthy family. They seem like middle class earners.
Okay. And he somehow, without a college degree, winds up teaching at a college.
Yep. Well, I think it was actually a high school. I think it was Dalton, right?
Dalton High School. Okay, which is a kind of a prestigious school, right?
Very prestigious. You've got to have money to teach there, and you got to have money to go there.
Okay. So at that point, not coming from money,
Barr got him in there. Not Bill Barr, but
his dad.
Yeah, his dad got him in there, and
Why?
his dad then got him into Bear Stearns.
Why?
No idea. I don't even know how he would have pulled to get somebody without a degree into a school teaching. Like I thought that was
know how that would work. Yeah, like you have to have certifications and stuff.
I thought so, but maybe if it's like a super prestigious private school, you don't have to have one. But I thought that would be like 100% more logical.
Red flag, right? Like, holy shit, dude. Okay, but he only teaches there for about 2 years, and then makes friends with Les Wexner. Am I right so far?
Yeah, but Les, I believe, is a little later on where their friendship turns into anything like a substantial.
So after the teaching, or was he still
teaching? After teaching, because Bear Stearns comes in. Remember Bear Stearns?
He goes to Bear Stearns.
Yeah, and then I think he meets him at Bear Stearns. Barr's father.
Barr's father. Okay, so
Daddy
Barr's
Barr.
father
He got him 2
gets
jobs.
him the school job and then gets him over to Bear Stearns. And so far, at this point, we've seen nothing to demonstrate he was some kind of a prodigy. Nothing to suggest he deserves this kind of preferential treatment and bump up in career. And so why? What's special about him? Is he dating the boss's daughter? Does he have pictures of the boss with a mistress?
Maybe, but how would he have gotten it before during the school or before school? Like, because he was still pretty young back then. I don't know how somebody.
Listen, people can rise that quickly. I've seen it happen in organizations I've been a part of. But it's because the cream floats to the top. And it's because they're way more advanced than the other folks in that same role, right? And so, yeah, they progress more quickly to the top. But the thing about this gentleman, why did I even say gentleman?
He
This piece of
misspelled his
shit.
fucking name. He
Right.
misspelled his own damn name on the chalkboard.
Right.
That's where I always jump to. I'm like, he was an idiot.
Listen to him talk about the quack. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. He gave someone else credit for the discovery of a quark that didn't deserve it. And he was talking in such a matter-of-fact way that Steve Bannon's going, yep,
I think it was James T. Quark from the ISS. I was making a Star Trek joke and then I forgot the damn thing. The USS
Quark
Enterprise
was the
or
Robin
ISS
Williams
Enterprise.
alien guy.
Oh, Mork. That's Mork.
Mork, not Quark. Well, you can see how that make that mistake. Okay, now who is this at Disneyland here? We've got Jeffrey, Winnie the Pooh, and who's that on the right side there?
Well, I'm actually trying to find this one now because I found where they label everyone's name in all the photos. Right, but there's a ton of photos, so I'm trying to rifle through them. I'm not exactly sure who this dude is.
Now, Lutnick was questioned off of camera the other day. Anything?
Oh, that was this
interesting you
afternoon.
gleaned?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Anything interesting you gleaned from that?
There were a couple of anecdotes about him being asked certain things in there, but I've got no idea. I think that he went in, it was a cakewalk, and that's why it was like a closed session. You know, like I think they just fucking got him in, asked him the easiest damn questions, and got his ass right the hell out.
Which is isn't that what Pam Bondi is getting? Is a closed session as well?
I think so. I think anyone is now going to be getting
because she wasn't
session
even going to
to
testify, and then they offered her a closed session or something. So,
but I do think it's unfair if Trump were to do that to her specifically, like just with her role in what the ass kissing and all the shit she's taken for him on doing this. Like, not saying she's not implicated or whatever, but for him to be just as implicated and her to have taken everything on the chin. Like, you saw her at that thing with the Dow was up 50,000.
Buddy, we watched the whole thing.
Yeah, she kissed so much ass during that thing, all on Trump's, like very publicly kissed Trump's asshole. Like, had not a single bad thing to say. Best president ever.
But maybe this will be a good lesson for her. Be careful about the star you hit your wagon.
Who you stand for, dude. Don't be a simp. Yeah. It can go either way. It could be for a girl or a boy, and you simping for a...
That's why you have to have personal conviction. You have to have a line in the sand that you won't cross. You don't let someone else define that line for you, right? People will respect you more for it, I promise.
Exactly.
Okay, so one of these days we'll figure out who this creep on the right side is that has a I love children smile on his face. And our last episode, we talked about this kind of recruitment pipeline, the modeling pipeline. And we talked about how the recruitment works and how these girls get exploited. And one thing interesting in researching this is to see how it goes younger and younger and younger. They start with girls at bars and they get down to these girls in colleges. Then they get down to these girls in high schools. I mean, the next step was probably junior high and grade school, right?
Yeah, and then I found he had like 10 years worth of yearbooks from West Palm Beach High School. I'm not sure if it was the exact name was West Palm Beach High School, but it was a West Palm Beach High School fucking
Is this
yearbook.
the
10 years worth of them.
The Life Touch connection we hear about?
I'm not even sure if that's where they came from, because just remember there were schools that he was poaching girls from. That's how he first got on the radar. Was one girl was invited to his house. She didn't like the massage that she had to give, but Ghislaine or somebody told her, like, no, just go recruit. You don't have to do any massage. You get the same paycheck. So she brought her friend, and her friend freaked the fuck out and then told somebody in school. And it eventually she sat before the cops in Palm Beach, and there was an investigation started.
Yes. And you see the two freaks on the right-hand side there, John Luke Brunel and John Casablancas. And I think we've done a pretty good job at talking shit about him so far. But I'm actually putting together because Netflix is making a documentary trying to make Jean-Luc Brunel look like some kind of modeling genius. So I've been putting together this sort of reality check piece that I'm going to make sure to drop once that documentary comes out, because that's like ignoring every bad thing the man ever did. And he did a lot of really bad things.
Yep. Yeah, what's his name? The other guy
Casablancas?
too. No, there was the other one. Not Richard Branson. There's only way less billionaires than there are of us, but I can't keep track of all their names.
Yeah. Peter Listerman?
No, he's another one. Good that you're able to belt these things out.
Oh, look, well, I got them up on the chart, buddy. I got it all graphed. I load these for most of our Epstein episodes because, this might be the first time you've seen it. And I feel like these are some pretty powerful visuals for people that aren't really sure what we're dealing with here. And
yeah, this is perfect.
Yeah, make no mistake. This was an organized crime syndicate. And to even fathom giving Ghislaine Maxwell a pardon would have been like giving Al Capone a pardon. No.
What's crazy is I found emails.
I
found emails going back and forth to like certain staff members where like one of the staff will be really rude to one of these girls, and they will be justifiably upset. I guess like they got really annoying on the plane, so one of the stewardesses or the co-pilot, whatever, locked the cabin, where they sit, the cockpit cabin. And it caused one of the girls to have like this huge fucking panic attack. She started banging on the door. It led to like 2 or 3 letters to like 3 people in HR, to where it's like, I wonder who, like, you freak out over a door being locked to the cockpit. Like, you're outside of the cockpit. It's not like you're having to deal with anybody, because no one else was mentioned other than 3 girls that were on that plane, and 2 of them got on her ass like, I can't believe this happened. You need to sit. Like, they were all bitching on behalf of this girl, right? To where it's like, you work for a sex trafficking ring, and this is what upsets you enough to like report some shit, internally, but still, nonetheless, you're reporting it. So I found that a little odd.
Different strokes for different folks, I guess, buddy. Just like these teenage girls are okay with getting swept away to this island and having relations with a man that could be their father, that's okay, but they're bored of not having enough to do after that's done.
Well, think of like the life of
weird, man.
Like the life of a stripper, right? Like she's making a absolute killing, right? But in order to like shove some of that I guess shame and things back down, like it eventually leads to drugs, or maybe it started with drugs, to where like they can't get their shit together. If you're making like $3,000 in a weekend, you should be able to pull your shit together, get a house, quit that job in like a year.
Yes.
But a lot of these girls, 10 years they're in it, and their life is still fucked.
It's so sad, man. All right, so before we end on the note here, Zorro Ranch. Any new developments at Zorro Ranch you've heard about? I know they went out there last time talking about digging up bodies. Have you heard anything since then? Because I have not found anything since that story.
I sort of, I've been doing a bit of this every time I get bored with like some of the other things. Like, let's say I hit a bit of a wall and I'm annoyed, I'll go and look up other stuff. So I'm like still pulling together some stuff on this. I think I got a couple of stuff that'll be cool, but might be enough for a whole episode to just rerun that gambit and tie some more things together after finding some shit out. Because my biggest thing is I need to find dates. I need to find dates when these pictures are taken, and then I can correlate that to emails and find out who is there. Because some of these people have no idea who these are. But this bald guy, I actually, you know what? I'll give you one taste of awesomeness right now. Hold on, let me.
Well, while you're doing that, I also want to say it's interesting. Zorro Ranch was over 300 acres?
Yeah, it was huge.
So to think that the police, I mean, unless somebody knew exactly where they supposedly buried these bodies, could find it. I mean, that's a needle in a haystack.
Oh, I think that's William Daniel Hillis.
Okay. And who the fuck is that?
I'm gonna take a picture. It's this guy because we've looked at him before.
Oh,
So I'm sending.
Okay.
Let me send you this. Do tweet ours.
On the tweet ours. Enhance. Enhance.
Boom.
Enhance. Oh yes, this Joker. Okay.
Do you think that's the same guy from the other photo? The one in the Disneyland? Just because it looks like he was maybe a little bit younger and a little thinner than in the two photos that I sent you now. Or well, not even that I sent you, but the ones in what you've got on the screen and then the photo I just sent you now.
I think there's definitely some likenesses, right? So here he is here. And here is Zorro Ranch. And here is Disneyland. On his plane.
I don't think it's the Disneyland guy.
Disneyland.
That guy's a little too thin. This guy looks a little more portly. Plus, he got like the jowls. Like
I mean, he could have taken some Ozempic.
Well, yeah. Look at his cheeks though in that one photo.
Yeah.
Right. And now switch back over to the hieroglyphics. I mean, not hieroglyphics, but the petroglyphs one. Yeah, and then look at that center one. You can see that same jowl.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have any other. We can't see what color his eyes are in that one. You know, we can see that they're kind of like a grayish green in this photograph.
Right.
So other than his horseshoe hair and that jowl, I think they look pretty damn similar, but you can't be sure. But that jowl is kind of like a telltale.
Yeah, they really do, and the hairline is as well, right? I mean, pretty damn close. So now William Daniel Hillis, is that just who posted it, or is that the person?
That's the person, and that's an updated photograph of him.
That's the person and an updated photograph. And have we researched William at all?
I've only just found his dang name. With his photograph to where like it's not using somebody else's work, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, let's make a note of that. William,
because now we can run down the other Rothschild. Now they've got his name. There's a few actually. I found a couple of damning photographs of Walter Cronkite as well.
Walter Cronkite, the voice of the owl at the Grove, Bohemian Grove. What
connections, boy! The old connections, they just keep on coming out.
Well, that's a crazy thing, right? Yeah, I can totally see how if I was Alex Jones and I discovered that the way that he did, I would be freaked the fuck out too. So, okay. Now I'm not sure if you saw this one. I do have some plans for this summer. I mean, it's technically illegal, but it's for a good cause. So let me know if you're in.
I'm down.
Oh, sure. The mic cuts out right as you agree. I see what kind of game you're playing.
No, dude. They got me. I'm down. Let's go, dude.
Man.
I got quiet sneakers. I'm in.
There are, as we get ready to kind of wrap up here, I guess, is there anything else you wanted to cover in this one other than the suicide note? I mean, what's our final verdict at this hour on the suicide note? Where do you stand on the suicide note?
If you would allow me to quote Velma on this one, I'm gonna say this shit is hinky, dude. I'm getting hinky vibes all over, man. It's very weird. I think the other one is also really damn weird, but it's not as schizophrenic as this one.
Yeah.
Although I don't understand the other one, and there's a blur on the top, like that yellowish page. There's like something's blurred out on the top.
It's a name. It's a name.
Whose? I wonder, because if it were Tartaglione, I think that's the guy's name, right? The one who was his cellmate, the cop.
I think so.
If it were him, they announced him on the news 150 times as him as his other cellmate. They've already named him and who tried to kill him the first time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So why would they blur it out? Especially if this is supposed to be, this was the one that's been around longer.
Right.
Right. This is the one we've seen. There should be an EFTA number. Oh no, not on this one.
Well, and we have some theories, right? One is this is a distraction from Iran and what happened at the Strait of Hormuz today. One could be the Justice Department targeting slow immigration judges as Trump pushes faster deportations. What was the other one? Oh, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick admits to having prolonged ties to Epstein's in closed-door interview. Now, I don't know that they would try to use a lot of sway because of that story, to be real, but the Hormuz one, I can see it being a distraction from that and the war from Iran, and the fact that your gas prices are going to get even higher because that's going to be the result. So hope you Uber. I know. I'm going to sell my car and just start Ubering everywhere, man. Forget it.
Yeah, dude. I got my skateboard, man. I'm
$6 a gallon. Get out of here with that noise. That's crazy. What am I driving? A Mini Cooper? No way. All right. So verdict on these is very strange. Timing is suspect. There's plenty of crazy stories going on around the world. At least 3 or 4 just in the few minutes researched.
I can read this one now.
Distraction from. Okay.
Just looking at it, I've been able to read it. Kept me in a locked shower stall for 1 hour.
Right.
And it looks like it says now or
send me burnt food. Now they send me burnt food.
Yeah, giant bugs crawling in my hands. It looks like it says hands, but he can't even read that. I would have thought
hands
that.
Or heads, one of the two. Well, he wouldn't pluralize head, so it must be hands.
And then no fun.
Yeah, no fun. And then we've got this one.
But look at the ends. That's what I would look for. Very similar. And so who wrote that first one would probably be the one who wrote this second one, or vice versa, you know?
Yeah. So we're pretty certain it's him.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I said about the Amy Eskridge case. Like, there's enough evidence, enough witnesses and actual camera footage that shows her walking out of that house in the middle of the night with barefoot and the gun in her hand. And then she's found early the next morning with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Now, I don't think you can really argue that. Those are the facts that the detectives found after investigations, and it matched up with what they saw at the scene. And so that's probably what happened. However, you can be attacked and harassed to a point where someone you never think would do something like this would do it. Because they can't take it anymore. They can't take the pain. They can't take the disbelief from those around them.
He was very, very, very privileged, as we can tell by his 800 fucking homes that he had and mansions and whatever. But he was very privileged. I can imagine that it would really suck for somebody who had everything handed to him with a silver spoon since the mid 80s.
Right.
Would not enjoy the position he was in, especially if the last time he got caught before this, they let him out of jail. He got to do whatever the fuck he wanted outside of the system.
Yeah, you're not getting 12 hours a day out of the jail this time, buddy. So yeah, very valid points, man. I mean, maybe it was guilt. Maybe it finally hit him. I don't know. Something about, I would imagine there's something about hearing that jail cell door slam behind you for the first time that probably makes you question some decisions you've made in your life. So that could be possible too. Now, we do have forensic medical examiners who say, no, he was killed because of the way his clavicle was broken. Whereas the ME on duty said she believed he killed himself, but she wasn't exactly 100% on it. So there was some doubt there, which means he probably got killed.
I wonder then if that was a whole psyop thing, because like an hour before, it's one of the CEOs, quote unquote, said that he got out of jail, and they wheeled him out on a gurney as if he had killed himself. But they were like, we don't do that. That's not a thing here, you know. And then they also never said in the thing, they said that he was in his cell until like a couple hours after that, and then he killed himself. So like there was an hour and a half warning that he had killed himself before he did. You know,
was that in an interview or was that?
I was on Reddit, dude. There was just a random post on Reddit, but too coincidental. Like they, I don't know, man. It was, if it was a LARP, real crazy timing.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, that's always a possibility too, right? Is some kind of a LARP.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's, boy, as if there's not enough shit to try to shovel through with our leading federal investigation unit trying to obfuscate and cause confusion in what they're releasing. They were supposed to release the entire Epstein files. There's still 2.5 million files that have not been released. Why? Is it because what we were talking about last episode, the Rothschilds, like some of these families are just too powerful? We can't do it. We can't find out that the Rothschilds were having babies sent to Jeffrey Epstein's island and doing God knows what with them, right? That would ruin everything.
I'm not saying this is a Rothschilds, but the richer of the richest elites that would have been involved in this, like ever since this shit started coming out, man, there were talks of human hunting parties. In like, I've been to, when I went to the UK, I've been to some of the estates out there, dude. They have fucking hunting grounds where it's gated off on all ends, right? Where they, I don't know how they do this. Maybe they catch a bunch of elk and they put them in there so these rich guys can go and just fucking blast a bunch of elk in a caged area. But it seemed to me real fucking creepy, and it more looked like a man.
What's this? Can you name a location? Do you know any location?
Oh, I can't remember the name of the castle, but it's
Okay.
a
Well, if you
big
do,
manor
shoot it to
house.
me.
It's a
Okay.
big manor house in the edge of London.
Okay.
And that was the scariest, creepiest one. And it had beautiful garden areas, but it was just, it was kind of winter when we went, so all the trees were dead. It just looked really creepy. And it looked like a big, flat, open area that I don't know if you've seen The Most Dangerous Game or like even the movie The Pest.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Kind of what they did there, except this was like grounds for hunting, you know?
Wow.
But allegedly, speculation.
Alien
Reddit.
versus Predator.
Yeah, minus the pyramids.
I thought, you know what? Because we both love movies. Alien versus Predator, the first one, I knew. So I was actually managing a movie theater at that time. And I knew when I saw that PG-13 rating, they were going to ruin this opportunity. And that's exactly what they did. But then in Alien Requiem, they almost went too hard to the other side. Now we're shooting eggs and pregnant women, and it just got so terrible. Crazy. Half Predator, half Alien. Looked intense. What were your thoughts on Requiem? Any good?
Yeah, okay. So I'm a big fan of all of the novels, right? Like Alien versus Predator. Yeah, there's like 250 books within that.
Of course there is.
Like universe, and it's awesome because the books are great. The books are phenomenal. If they just made the books into
But I can't
whatever.
watch a book, Flak.
Touche. All right, touche.
I want to turn off my brain, stuff my face with popcorn, and watch other people do crazy stuff.
Well, this is it, right? They should make this into a movie because there's one called Phalanx. Phalanx. Phallanx. I read it, and then I got the audiobook, which was done by Bronson Pinchot. That was Serge from Beverly Hills Cop. He read the book, and it was awesome. I met him in person, in real life. He very cool guy, very nice. But yeah, so it starts out as kind of like indigenous children living alone on an island, right? And it's real weird, but like very intense jungles, like it were kind of like the Amazon rainforest, except it's on a different planet. They have their own language, they have their own this, they have their own that, and there's weird artifacts all over this island, kind of like Lost, right? So you find out pretty early they're being hunted. You find out pretty early that this is an after apocalypse situation because there's all these military base like things that the children live in on the island that they don't know anything about, right? Everyone who was there died, somebody survived, and this is a progeny of whatever survival there was. So they pass everything down. This is maybe a couple hundred years after whatever colony was devised on there. But it's like a military planet with xenomorphs as kind of like this is where they were trying to, I guess, build up the army to use them and test them out. But I guess they broke out and killed everybody. But the really cool part is like the carapace stuff. They get into the acid. They get into, like it's just really cool because they go through the path of like you're learning with these kids, like they're getting chased by a xenomorph. One of them kills it. One of the children dies because he gets splashed with the acid, but the acid also hits one of the leaves that their clothing is made out of, right? So the leaf doesn't get burned, doesn't get hurt, nothing happens to the leaf. It can totally take that thing. So you kind of realize with them why some of their clothing is made out of that, and why they were told to use that, why that's a sacred plant on the island. Just really cool shit like that. Really awesome world building stuff. And then I believe it's Predator. The Yautjas come and just fuck shit up. And I believe the kids eventually, because the Yautjas aren't bad. If you're a child, they're not gonna fuck with you. You know what I mean? They only want the toughest of the toughest to prove themselves. Like. So, but I don't know. It's just very cool world building. I absolutely love the book. Love the audiobook. I'd recommend it if you ever get the chance.
I did think it was cool. God, what one was it? I think it was Alien versus Predator Requiem, where we finally got our first look at like the Predator planet.
And the Queen.
It was brief, one, right? But you got to see it. It's pretty neat.
Was that the one with the pyramid and the Queen?
I think so. Yeah, that was the one where he gets notified that there was a crash landing and he has to go clean it up on Earth. Yeah, very, very interesting. I was glad that they did that to make up for how to see. So this was the thing I was going to get to, is that it was PG-13, that first Alien versus Predator, piece of crap. The next one, Alien versus Predator Requiem. It's a complete, that movie was so dark. You were in the theater like, but within the first 5 minutes, they killed like a kid in that movie, and I was like, "Oh, this shit's about to get real."
Yeah,
this is they just killed from PG-13 to killing a kid in the first 10 minutes. Here we go, and it was a wild ride.
Now that I think about it, I'm trying to remember what the hell the first Alien versus Predator was.
It was terrible. They went to like Antarctica, and there was some underground. Oh, the
pyramid
enemy,
thing. That's the
my
pyramid
enemy
one.
is
Yeah.
my friend. Blah 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 blah. It was garbage. It was straight garbage.
Yeah, that was pretty. Ugh.
Yeah, pretty bad. But we will save this rest of this conversation for a movie episode we do one of these days, which I'm excited about. I think it'll be fun to talk movies because I fucking love movies.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, and there's so many good ones. I don't know about this day and age. There's a few good ones here and there, but so many more good ones in our history. All right. Well, the suicide letter, I think I'm at about 75% he wrote that. But I'm at 100% writing it under questionable conditions. That's kind of where I fall.
I'm conservative, right there with you, because I don't know how to. I don't even want to claim to know, but I've got my suspicions. You know,
Right.
do have my
Yeah.
suspicions.
Exactly. There's definitely enough room in there for some fuckery for sure. Like I can't say I'm 90%, 99%. No. Not even that close, because there's been so much fuckery in this case. You know, redacting rich people's names from emails and including other people's names that aren't as rich, victims' names, addresses, driver's license information. Why not? You know, pay attention to things like that. My goodness, bud. I'm trying to think. I think that's everything. Did you have anything else you want to cover before we close her out?
Oh, I'm good, dude. I am all right, man. I think we did a hell of a job covering at least the note and some peripheral things around it.
Yeah, just kind of a little breaking news segment. The note did just come out like literally hours ago, so we wanted to make sure we got something on the record. At least our initial reactions. We might do more on it. We might do some more on it later, as if there are any more developments. But for now, yeah, I think we got it on record. And if you're a fan of the show, don't forget, like, subscribe, all that good stuff that helps the algorithm. Don't forget to follow Mr. Flak Magnet on X. He's still working on his YouTube account. But please give him a follow on X. Mr. Flak Magnet, thank you, sir, for coming through.
Oh, anytime, buddy. Thank you for having me. This is always a blast. Yeah, hell yeah. More to come, people, more to come.
Many more to come. We're looking at our new co-hosts here, so we're just gonna make them stay. That's the thing.
Yep.
All right, buddy. Evia, have a good Wednesday night. This is only the middle of the week, so we do got to go to bed, and I will see you next time.
Good night.